And a very good evening to you and welcome to the news tonight. I'm Iberi. Going on the headlines tonight. Federal government to assist in resettling victims of flood disaster in the state. Flood devastates more areas in riverine communities across the state. Nigerian Air Force partners Nigerian Communication Commission to fight insecurity. And the foreign scene, China warns U.S. over sanctions on her goods. And now details of the news. The federal government and Anambra state government are to work out a long-term plan for the resettlement of victims of flood in the state. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo revealed this during a meeting he had with Governor Obiano and some of the flood victims at Aguleri in Anambra East Council area. Government House correspondent Kenneth Chukwuofoma filed the report.
The meeting convened at the instance of Governor Willie Obiano was attended by traditional rulers of communities and representatives of agro-investments affected by the flood, among other stakeholders. Addressing the gathering, Vice President Osinbajo said the federal government is tackling the flood as a national disaster and will deploy every resource within its disposal to handle the situation. He said the visit has afforded him the opportunity to tour the affected areas and he is now in a better position to brief President Muhammadu Buhari on the extent of damage done by the flood. Professor Osinbajo further said because some residents have refused to leave the flooded area, the National Emergency Management Agency NEMA has been directed to evolve plans to move relief materials to them, assuring them that government is committed to their welfare.
I have overflown many of the disaster areas of my way here, and already we recognize that all of these areas, even all of these areas are, experiencing varying degrees of flooding. We intend, as the federal government, first to, as the matter has been escalated, as the disaster has been escalated to a national one, it means that we're going to deploy federal resources as much as possible to assuage some of the problems that we're seeing.
Governor Obiano said the visit of the Vice President is imperative as there is urgent need for every available assistance towards providing succor to the flood victims. Governor Obiano said on the part of his administration, nothing will be spared to ensure that the flood victims who have been traumatized are well taken care of.
Two-thirds of Anambra agrarian community is underwater as we speak. Massively, we have a lot of challenge this time around, and that's why his compassionate nature decided to come and see things for himself instead of being told. Because to be told one thing is different from you seeing what is happening. That's exactly why he's here.
Igwe Christopher Idigo, the traditional ruler of Aguleri, one of the communities affected by the flood, thanked the federal government for coming to their rescue and advocated a long-term solution to minimize the impact of the flood in future.
We have to call the hydrologists together, experts, to sit down and study it for a long-term solution. We are no longer in the dark ages. We are in digital ages. So we can do it. And I know because the minister is here and our governor is here. Once more, let me say thank you. And we wish you safe journey back to the destination.
From Aguleri in Anambra East Council area, I am Kenneth Chukwuofoma reporting for ABS News.
As the flood situation continues unabated, one of the major rice farmlands in the state, Coast Cherish Rice Farm, has been cut off and rendered inaccessible. Deputy Governor Dr. Nkem Okeke paid an inspection visit to the rice farm at Anako in Ayamelum Council area to ascertain the level of damage following Governor Willie Obiano's directive. Government House correspondent Eji Kabana found the report.
It took the services of a camera drone to get an aerial view of the premises and get first-hand knowledge of the damage, where it was observed that about 1,500 hectares of the rice farm, spanning 360 degrees, is totally submerged in flood, which has left the company counting its losses. Commenting on the development, the Deputy Governor, Dr. Okeke, while sympathizing with the management of the farm, noted that the damage is enormous. The Deputy Governor observed that from his assessment, about 95% of the farm's harvest has been damaged, expressing the hope that it will not affect the yearly Anambra rice projections. Dr. Okeke, who expressed hope that the farm is insured for such emergencies, bearing the topography of the area in mind, assured that state government will help the much it can. The Commissioner for Agriculture, Mechanization and Export, Mr. Afam Mbanefo, said that it is a usual practice to work rice projections based on productions from rice stakeholders, which includes Coscharis, noting that the targets will decrease as a result of the disaster. The Commissioner restated the resolve of Governor Obiano in producing enough rice for consumption and export, as well as engages preventive measures against reoccurrence of flood. The Farm Operation Manager, Mr. Shefard Urudza, thanked the state government for commiserating with them, adding that effort is ongoing by stakeholders to forestall or minimize the effect of such flood challenge in the future. From Anako, in Aya Melum Council area, Ejike Abana, ABS News.
Meanwhile, flood has destroyed over 200 hectares of rice farm at Omo in Ayamelum local government area. The destruction was occasioned by the major river in the area, the Okwato River, which overflew its bank. Staff reporter Blessing Judibia, who was with the farmers at Ojabo Rice Farm at Omo, reports that millions of naira was lost in the disaster. We have details.
It was also observed that some of the crops were in primary stages, while others were almost at maturity stage before the menace. Some of the farmers, including Mr. Peter Anyante and Clement Udobiora, who maintained that most farmers took loans from banks as well as borrowed from other sources, called on the state government, SEMA, and other agencies to come to their aid.
I collected loan from bank through our cooperative society and through friends. I collected loan of 6,200,000. I included my own 2,100,000, making it 10,300,000 to cultivate 35 acres of land. All this fund, I used it to cultivate 35 acres of land on this particular land. As you can see, Ojabo, as you can see, these are the ones that have been already much older. They have already produced, rice is here already. Then you can see the green ones. All those green ones belongs to me. They were yet to produce, unfortunately, before this flood came into this place.
Okay. We are appealing to the state government, maybe through one of the agencies like SEMA, to come as a matter of urgency to our need.
Commenting on the ugly development, the traditional ruler of the town, Igwe Chris Chidume, described the flood menace as unfortunate and urged people of the community to relocate.
Affected areas now is the crops. Some of the crops that were planted without anticipation that the flood is going to be this much are already affected, and the people are counting their losses in millions. Is something we did not anticipate. Though the warning came, but before the warning came, people have finished their planting. That is the irony of it. There's nothing they can do.
Also speaking, the President General of the Town Union, Chief Michael Nebefe, said the community is assisting victims to evacuate farm produce to safe places.
Nsube community in Anambra East local government area has selected project to be executed under the 10 million naira World Bank assisted community and social development project initiated by the Obiano administration. Correspondent Amaka Chibuzokoye was at the Ilabito Nsube venue of the event and filed the report.
The community made the resolution when a team from Anambra State Community and Social Development Agency came for sensitization and interactive meeting on the mission of the program, which pulled out Ndiezen Sube, Ndiyom, youths, and the women folk. They resolved to embark on building a skill acquisition center, reposition primary schools, and sink boreholes. Addressing the gathering at Ilabiton Sube, the field officer of CSDA, Engineer Sopulu Okoli, said the program, which focuses on eradicating poverty in the poorest communities, will be implemented based on the needs of the community. Engineer Okoli stated that the program is for micro projects, which demands the community to contribute their quota in various aspects for the success of the projects. stating that it will be more beneficial if they come together and support the committee that will work on the project.
As soon as possible, very soon the project.
The communication officer of the agency, Mr. Nnamdi Onuzulike, said that they work on community-driven development approach and commended the community for the warm reception accorded them. The spokesperson of the title chiefs, Obi Igwekovu Anozie, thanked the government for such program, which they have embraced for progress of the community, stating that through the new President General, Nsugbe community has benefited a lot from Governor Obiano's administration. The President General of the community, Mr. Simeon Ogude, extolled Governor Willie Obiano for the payment of counterpart fund for the project, saying that they will do all that is necessary to ensure the kick-off and completion of the project because of its benefit to Ndi Nsugbe. Some of the women folk who spoke to newsmen include Mrs. Stella Nwoye and Mrs. Patricia Okafor, expressed delight for the visit and appealed to the government to make the project a reality. From Nsugbe, Anambra East Local Government Area, Amaka Chibuzo Okoye, ABS News.
The national president of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Comrade Abdulwahid Odusile, has called for stronger laws to protect journalists' rights in the country. The NUJ president made a call at the Ezemo International Press Center, Oka, while reacting to the recent attack on ABS News crew by Okuzu Youths. Correspondent Emmanuel Okonkwo completes the report.
Comrade Odusile, who condemned the attack on the ABS crew, said that the national body of the union will join forces with the State Council to ensure that the perpetrators of the acts are brought to book to serve as a deterrent to others. He further harped on the need for the protection of journalists by the government and security agents. The NUJ national president commended the leadership of the State Council for good and effective leadership, encouraging them to sustain the tempo. Comrade Odusile used the opportunity to advise members to imbibe the spirit of sportsmanship towards the union's October 4th election, stressing the need to avoid character assassination and bickering as aspirants go about their campaigns.
I have assured us of a free, fair and credible election, and as the sitting president, I want to also reiterate that assurance and assure our members that that election will be free, fair and credible. My only worry is the kind of the dimension that some of our candidates, from my colleagues who are vying for offices, have introduced to their campaigns, character assassination. This is alien to culture in NUJ. And I want to please tell them, I want to plead with them to stop assassination of character.
On his part, the state chairman of the union, Comrade Emaife Snachi, said that the State Council is promoting objective disposition towards the election. Comrade Emaife Snachi stressed that the union needs creative and innovative leaders to attain greater heights. He noted that the state chapter of the union is working assiduously to ensure justice for the attacked ABS crew, as injury to one is injury to all.
Police have it as a statutory duty to protect the journalists. As a matter of fact, the entire citizen of the state. You know, for those people to have their way and, you know, injured a journalist, damage the car used by the media is an indication that the law enforcement agencies have, you know, derailed in their statutory function to protect the citizens. However, we are not going to relax and assume that incident. Those people who did that must be arrested, must be punished for, you know, for molesting a journalist.
A former state chairman of the union, Mr. Henry Wasike, said the primary target of the members during the election should be making the union better and stronger. The meeting was well attended by members of the union, including the managing director of the National Light newspapers, Mr. Chokan Nabife, the director of news and current affairs of the ABS, Mr. Geb Opaleze, among others. From the Ezemo International Press Center, Oka, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
Well, we're going for a short break, and when we return, Nigerian Air Force partners Nigerian Communications Commission to fight insecurity. And on the foreign scene, China warns U.S. over sanctions on her goods. The news returns in a moment. Please stay with us.
Yes, Nigeria Independence Anniversary is here again. Come Monday, 1st October 2018, Nigeria will be celebrating her 58th Independence Anniversary. Your darling station, Anambra Broadcasting Service, ABS, Heartbeat of the East, has created a special Independence Day package on ABS 88.5 FM and ABS TV Channel 24 to give the Anambra ministries, departments and agencies, corporate organizations, civil society organizations, and other patriotic organizations the opportunity to celebrate and felicitate with His Excellency Chief Willie Obiano, Governor of Anambra State, the Anambra and fellow Nigerians. ABS 58th Independence Anniversary Package cost only 20,000 naira. This package covers Independence Day message on TV, 3 slots. Independence Day message on radio, 3 slots. You may also pay for single Independence Day announcement on TV for 5,000 naira or on radio for 3,000 naira. Please contact KC on 080-33-888-526 to make your bookings. Let us celebrate Nigerians' 58th Independence Anniversary together.
I'm very glad to have you back for the rest of the news. Moving on to our national stories, the Nigerian Air Force has said it will strengthen its strategic partnership with the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, in order to contain emerging 21st century security challenges. The Chief of the Air Staff, CAS Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, who said this during a courtesy visit to the Commission's Executive Vice Chairman, Professor Umar Dambata in Abuja, said the measure was aimed at also further developing needed capacity in information and communication technology, ICT. While speaking during the visit, the CAS, who was accompanied by other senior officers from NAF headquarters, revealed that the NAF, being a highly technical service, requires knowledgeable personnel with the right technical abilities to deal with the security challenges in the 21st century that are often complicated by rapid technological advancements. He noted that the NAF, on its part, had continued to seek for ways to build the capacity of its personnel to effectively man its equipment, including ICT facilities that support its intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance systems in the various theaters of operation. He noted, however, that there were still human capacity gaps which could be filled in partnership with NCC. Air Marshal Abubakar also informed the EVC that the NAF was in the process of establishing new air combat ranges in remote parts of Bauchi and Zamfara states and would require the assistance of the Commission to facilitate the provision of telecommunications service access to these areas. In his remarks, the CEO NCC, Professor Dambata, commended the service for the important role it has been playing in the fight against insurgency and other security threats in the country. He stated that knowledge of ICT was critical in dealing with security challenges in the 21st century, where security does not end in the 3 physical domains, but also includes space and cyberspace. And now for business news, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, yesterday announced a trading surplus of 17.16 billion naira in its April 2018 financials. Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Dr. Mike Kantibaru, in a statement by its Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, Mr. Ndu Ohamadu, said this was an improvement of 5.3 billion naira, representing a 4 to 6.29% increase on the trading surplus recorded in March 2018. According to the NNPC, the trading surplus was achieved through a combined higher performance by the upstream, midstream and downstream sectors, as well as a reduction in corporate headquarters operational expenditure. And moving on to entertainment, the film adaptation of Wole Soyinka's classic autobiographical novel, Ake, The Years of Childhood, is now available to viewers on Amazon.com. Amazon is the world's acclaimed largest internet retailer of video and MP3 downloads and streaming. Dr. Dakpo Adeni, executive producer and director of the film, made this known in an interview in Abuja. According to Adeni, efforts to put the film, which has been screened in Lagos and some international film festivals, on Amazon, is to make it accessible around the world because of its international appeal. Adeni described the Ake story as an epic that was very significant in Nigeria's history and must be immortalized for reminiscence, especially for the younger generation. He added that film adaptation would send the readers of Ake back to the book. Ake, The Years of Childhood, set in the years just before World War II, is a memoir by Nigerian Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka that was first published in 1981. It tells the story of Soyinka's boyhood before and during World War II in a Yoruba village in western Nigeria called Ake, where the author spent the first 12 years of his life. And moving on to the foreign scene, China has called on the United States to withdraw sanctions it imposed on the Chinese military organization for buying Russian weapons or bear the consequences. A Chinese spokesman, Geng Shuang, said the Chinese side expresses strong indignation over the above-mentioned unreasonable practices of the U.S. side and had launched an official protest with the United States, noting that the U.S. actions have seriously violated the basic principles of international relations and seriously damaged the relations between the two countries and the two militaries. The U.S. State Department said it was placing financial sanctions on the Equipment Development Department of the Chinese Ministry of Defense and its top administrator for the recent purchase of Russian Sukhoi Su-30 35 fighter jets and S-400 surface-to-air missiles. Officials said it was the first time a third country has been punished under the CAATSA sanctions legislation for dealing with Russia and signaled the Trump administration's will to risk relations with other countries in its campaign against Moscow. The move comes as the United States and China are in the heat of a trade war. The two countries will launch new tariffs on Monday, with Washington targeting $200 billion in Chinese exports and Beijing hitting $60 billion worth of American products. The two sides have already imposed tariffs on $50 billion in goods from each country. And moving on to sports story, Manchester United will be missing 5 players for Saturday's Premier League home game against Wolverhampton Wanderers, with Diogo Dalot to be rested. Marco Arroyo and Ander Herrera not fully fit, and Nemanja Matic and Marcus Rashford suspended. Dalot, who was signed from Porto in the closed season, impressed on his United debut in their 3-0 Champions League win over Switzerland's Young Boys on Wednesday. But manager Jose Mourinho intends to ease the fullback into the side. The Portuguese youngster joined United while he was still recovering from a knee injury, and Mourinho intends to keep him his next run out in the League Cup against Derby County on Tuesday. United came through their midweek European encounter on an artificial pitch relatively unscathed, and Mourinho will be able to field a strong starting 11 against Wolves, who are in a place and a point below his team in the standing. And that's it on the news tonight. But remember that you can listen to news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging onto our website, www.absradiotv.com. Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And just before we go tonight, a quick reminder of our major stories. Federal government is pledged to assist in resettling victims of flood disaster in the state. Vice President Osibajo stated this at Aguleri. Flood has devastated more areas in riverine communities across the state. Nigerian Air Force is partnering Nigerian Communication Commission to fight insecurity. And on the foreign scene, China has warned U.S. over sanctions on her goods. And that's the size of our package this night. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ebere Ugonna.